We're going to talk about throttle response and torque today. If you've ever bought an expensive, or let's say inexpensive sports car, had a little high performance to it, then you would know when you barely touch the gas pedal, that thing went, and it went fast. Well, on the Mercedes S550 W221, that throttle response can get a little sluggish. I'm going to tell you a few things you can do to get it back. On the front of your engine, this is the M278. It's in a 2013 Mercedes S550. These are your cam covers. Let's see if I can get a focus here. These are your cam covers with the blue bolts holding it there. You want to take those cam covers off, and you see there's a little thin line there where the cover meets the front of the engine. This is an aluminum head, so when you take this cover off, you're going to find there's not a lot of gasket left unless they've recently been sealed. And what you want to do is you want to clean the old gasket material off of the front of this once you take this cover off. Do not use sandpaper or scraper to get the old gasket off. There's a product, it's called, there's a product that LOCTITE makes. It's a spray can, and you can spray the front of this and it'll dissolve the old gasket material. And you want to take a soft cloth and you just want to wipe it off with that solution. And you don't want to scrape it or sand it, use sandpaper on it, because it is an aluminum head and you'll end up scoring the metal. And once you score the metal, it's pretty much ruined. You're never going to get the same seal again. So anyway, you want to take these covers off on both sides. There's one over here and there's one here. See the blue bolts holding it on? You see the gasket material? That's Mercedes-Benz gasket material. You want to make sure you use that to reseal it. The other thing you want to do is you want to take these are called cam magnets, unplug the electrical connection from them and put new ones on it. You got two on each side. This one, there's the second one, and then you got one there, and you've got one down there. You want to get new ones, and then also you want to get these are cam sensors. These sensors and those magnets are talking to your engine at all times, helping it get the best performance. So these things do wear out after time. You won't get any codes in the dash. I mean, eventually you could if you just waited until they triggered a code, but you don't want to wait that long because they're warned before they're actually going to throw a code. If you replace those and you reseal these covers, these timing chain covers, then your engine's not going to be losing pressure. Because once that gasket material wears out, your engine starts losing pressure, and that's where your gas pedal doesn't have the response that it had from the factory. A couple other things you want to do is you want to replace the oxygen sensors. There's one right down there somewhere. It's plugged to the top of the, there it is, I think that's it. It's plugged to the top of the exhaust pipe. Yeah, that's it. There's one there, and there's one on the other side over here. That's it right there. You want to replace those. Those are the two upstream sensors. You also have two downstream that are behind the catalytic converter on the other side of the catalytic converter. You want to replace all four of those oxygen sensors. Although eventually they do wear down and throw a code, you don't want to wait until you get the code. Just go ahead and put new ones in there. If the ones that are on your car have at least 30,000 miles on them, go ahead and pop them out and put some new ones in there. They're very inexpensive, and if you do these things, you're going to notice a tremendous response on your gas pedal. This engine is going to be right again. What you're going to have to do is when you're taking that, changing the oxygen sensor on this side, see if I can find it again for you. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? That one right there. The wire that comes off the top of it, as you can see, it goes right up into that heat shield. So that heat shield is going to be in your way. So you're going to really struggle getting this one out. And most importantly, you're going to really struggle trying to get the new one back in there, because you're going to have to twist it up in there, and you can't really get your hand up in there. You can't reach it from up here, and you can't reach it from down there if you have a decent sized hand. So what I would recommend, I highly recommend, don't even waste your time. Just drop the exhaust on this side. Don't undo it from the motor. Undo it from the back underneath the car. Get this car up on a set of ramps, the back tires up on a set of ramps, and go down underneath the back of it and undo that exhaust on this side. And that way that exhaust will lower to the ground, and then come up under here and replace that upstream sensor. You'll be able to get to it then. Put the new one on, put the downstream one on behind the catalytic converter, and then bolt your exhaust back up. And if you do these things, the other side's not going to be too bad getting the upstream and downstream sensors. You'll be able to get to both of them from beneath the car. Just put the front of your car on ramps and you'll be able to get them. Let me see. One other thing, when you're working on resealing your timing chain covers, you're gonna have to get your turbo pipe out of the way. There's a few other things. See your breather, fresh air breather line here, you'll take that loose. But when you take this turbo pipe off, it's mounted here and it's mounted on the front of the turbo. And what they use to mount it with, if you can see it, you probably can't see it. No, you can't. What they use to mount it is like a large hose clamp. When you, let me see. Yeah, it's kind of dark and tight in here. Once you get that clamp off, where it holds this tube to the front of the turbo, that clamp is no longer going to work for you when you're putting it back together. So get new clamps. There's one on each side. Just tell the dealership you want the clamp that clamps these tubes to the front of the turbo. It's just one clamp on each side. And as you try to put those old clamps back on, it's just going to strip on you and it's not going to tighten. So make sure you get some new clamps. Also get some of the, replace these clamps too, because you're going to have the same problem. You're going to try to tighten them back on there and they're just going to strip on you. So you want, 1, 2, 3 down there, and then 1, 2, 3 down there. So you got 4 clamps for the top and you got 2 clamps on the bottom. You want to get new clamps for that. And if you do these repairs, it's only going to cost you a few $100, and it might take you about a day. Taking your time, you're going to notice a tremendous amount of throttle response on your car. This is the M278 engine and a 2013 S550 Mercedes.